Okay, so number 1, number 2, number 3, you're fine. Any questions on how to do these ones? Okay, so let's do the last one. Okay, so again. So your question is, where does this minus half from or this half from? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is cotangent of x3 to the power of 1/2. That's what square root means.
Yes.
Okay, so I could put the half in front, just the regular power rule. So I put 1/2 in front, and I minus 1 from the exponent. So 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2. Do you understand this?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
It's clear? The question, you understand? Did I answer you?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
let's
I
try
have a
number
question,
5.
sir.
Yeah, yeah, question?
So for chain rule, what you do is you derive the outer power, and then you derive whatever's inside,
Yeah,
multiplied by whatever's inside.
Yeah, but sometimes the outer won't necessarily be a power. Here it was a power, was square root, but here the outer function was a secant.
Well, yeah, so you derive the secant, and then you derive whatever's inside.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, let's go. More. We're going to do a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, question?
Just a quick question. Okay, so here to derive, we're using the trigonometry, like the things we learned last class.
Okay.
No, my question is to find the answer, we need to like know by heart the rules we learned last time.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. Okay. So let's do. F of x is equal to the cosecant power 5 of x3 plus x minus 1. What is the first thing we do? Anybody?
We bring the 5 down.
Very good. So first you derive the exponent 5. So it's 5 times cosecant of x3 plus x minus 1. And now instead of being power 5, it's going to be now power 4. Times the derivative of what's to the power of 5? Well, it's the total cosecant, right? The cosecant of x3 plus x minus 1. Any questions on this step? Anyone? Okay. So now I have to derive this. This is my new problem. So I have to derive now cosecant. Okay, so it's the cosecant of this function. So it's equal to 5 times the cosecant power 4 of x3 plus x minus 1 times, and the derivative of cosecant is, so I showed it last class, it's negative cosecant
minus cotangent.
So negative cosecant times cotangent. Is that okay? And times the derivative of what's inside. So times x3 plus x minus 1. Sorry, I'm running out of space. Prime. Let's turn a bit closer here. And then I just need to derive this thing, which is very simple now. And all the rest I recopy. So it's 5 cosecant 4 of x cubed plus x minus 1 times negative cosecant x3 plus x minus 1 times cotangent x3 plus x minus 1 times, and now this is 3x2 plus 1. And that's my answer. Any questions? Okay, let's do more. You done writing?
No, can you wait a second?
Yeah.
Sir, are you going to be posting these online?
Yeah. I will post this sheet that I just, everything like usual. Okay, the class notes, I will post them on.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you get the exercises on chain rule? You got them? I posted, yes?
Yes.
You should start doing them. You should be able to do most of them. Okay, so that was number 5, so number 6. So f of x, so should I complicate things a bit or still at the same level? Same level for now, I guess, no? Okay, so let's do 3 times the cubic root of sine of x4. Okay, so the first thing we do is all this is to the power of 1/3, so I put it in front. So 3 times 1/3 times sine of x to the 4 power. So 1/3 minus 1 is -2/3. Okay, times the derivative of what's inside the root. So sine of x4 prime. Okay, so far so good. Any questions at this step?
Do you use the power rule on the 3 in the beginning or no?
On which 3? This 3 or this 3?
Yeah, that 3.
That 3 on the floor here, this one here?
The one on the floor, yeah.
Yeah, this one's nothing. This one's a constant in front. It stays, it's gonna stay there until the end of the problem.
You don't get rid of it because of power rule?
If it was alone, if it was 3 plus that, then I would have to do the derivative of 3 itself, which is 0. But it's not alone.
Oh, but because it's times, all right.
Right? It's a number times a function, so it stays.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go. So let's just, you know what? I'm just going to simplify these two. Okay, I don't need to write them. 3/3 is out. So it's sine of x4, all this to the power of -2/3, and then derivative of this. So derivative of sine is cosine. So it's going to be cos of x4 times the derivative of what's inside the sine. So the derivative of x4. And that's it. The rest is easy. So sine x4 to the power of -2/3 times the cosine of x4 and times 4x cubed, and that's my answer. So number 7. So f of x, so still same level of difficulty. Secant cubed of x2 minus 2x and all this power 5. Because it's not really the same difficulty, it's a bit more difficult, but I think you could handle it. So f prime of x. So the first thing we do is we derive the power 5. So 5 times all this to the power 4 times whatever's inside Okay, you understand? So I'm going to write here. I'm going to write it here. Sorry, secant cubed of x2 minus 2x. Is this okay? The first step is okay. Okay, so now I need to derive this guy. So I have 5 times secant cubed of x2 minus 2x power 4 times, and now I'm going to derive here. So the derivative of secant cubed is 3 times secant squared times the derivative of secant. And then minus the derivative of 2x, which is 2. Okay, so be careful here, it's a bit confusing. So I need to derive, there's a sum of two functions, or a subtraction, same thing. So I derive the first, I derive the second, and I minus them. Derivative of secant cubed is 3 times secant squared times derivative of secant. And then minus derivative of 2x, which is 2. Any questions?
It's not secant of x squared minus 2x, or secant x squared minus 2x.
No, it's secant of x2, the answer minus 2x. Or else I would have put brackets around here, like I did here. Okay, for secant 5 out, I put brackets around it.
I did like if there were parents.
So okay, it's good you make the mistake here, not on the test. Okay, so 5 times secant cubed of x2 minus 2x power 4 times 3 times secant squared of x2 times, and the derivative of secant is secant times tangent times the derivative now of the x2. Okay, so a lot of steps in this one. And this I don't touch anymore.
Why is it -2?
This minus 2 here,
Yeah.
it's a derivative of 2x. You understand? I have a function minus a function. If you remember, a function minus a function, you always do the derivative of the first minus derivative of the second. Okay, this is from the linear property.
Okay.
If you remember these, you remember, here they are. I found them. Okay, so if you see, if f of x is u of x plus or minus v of x, then f prime is u of prime plus or minus v prime. That's what I have here. Okay, u of x minus v of x. So derived, you'll get u prime minus v prime. And v prime here is 2. You get it?
Yeah.
At least that's one advantage of teaching online. I could go back to old boards.
Do we derive the x squared?
Now I have to derive the x squared exactly. That's the last thing I have to do. Okay, and then I'll be done. So this I have to replace by 2x and it's finished. So my answer will be 5 times secant cubed of x2 minus 2x power 4 times 3 secant squared x2 secant x2 tangent x2 times 2x, and all this minus 2. That's my answer. Any questions? Okay, next, number 8. So a little more complicated now. Let's say sine cubed of x squared plus 1 times tangent squared of x cubed plus 1. So don't forget there's a multiplication here. So this has to be a reflex for you guys. When you see times, two functions multiplied, right away, product. So here, this one's a complicated because it's a product rule and there's a chain rule for each one. Okay, so let's do it step by step. Sine cubed of x2 plus 1 times tangent squared x3 plus 1. I think I'm going to run out of space here. Plus sine cubed of x2 plus 1 times tangent squared of x3 plus 1. So u prime v plus u g prime. Okay, you see how I do it? That's how I set it up. And this separates my two terms. Okay, any questions?
Okay, so we start with the product rule and then we'll do the chain rule?
So first, exactly. First you set up the product rule to know what do I have to derive here. There's times, that's all. Okay, so now I'm going to derive this guy and this guy. These are two new problems. Okay, that's like one problem on its own, this one, and that's one problem on its own, this one. Okay? So equals, I'm going to start here because I think I'm going to need space. So the derivative of sine cubed, so we've done a few of these. So it's 3 times sine squared of x2 plus 1 times the derivative of sine x2 plus 1. Okay, so this is for this guy. Times, and this, the rest stays, tangent squared of x3 plus 1 plus, and here, sine cubed x2 plus 1 times, and the derivative of this again, so it's a power 2, so 2 times the tangent of x3 plus 1 times the derivative of the tangent. Okay, so you have to be very, very alert, okay, because it's very easy. There's a lot of things going on here, and it's very easy to forget a chain rule. Okay, it's very easy. They get slipped through your fingers right away. We have done mistakes a lot with this. Okay, so you're also going to do. Okay, so that's why I'm doing it by steps. Okay? Eventually, you won't need to do all these steps. Okay, if I were to do this myself, I would do it in one step. I would write the answer right away, and you'll eventually get this way as well. Okay, but for now, trust me, do it like this. So I think I'm going to run out of space. So 3 sine squared of x2 plus 1. So the derivative of sine of this is cos of x2 plus 1 times the derivative of the x2 plus 1. Okay, it's not too small, you can still read. Tangent squared x2 plus 1 plus, and here, sine cubed of x2 plus 1 times 2 tangent of x3 plus 1, and the derivative of tangent is secant squared of x3 plus 1, and times the derivative of x3 plus 1. Sorry, I know it's small, but I have no choice. And now that's it. This will become 2x, this will become 3x2, and I'll be done. So equals 3 sine squared of x2 plus 1 times cos x2 plus 1 times 2x times tangent squared x2 plus 1 plus sine cubed of x2 plus 1 times 2 tangent x2 plus 1 secant squared x3 plus 1 times and then 3x2, and that's my answer. Okay, so you see it's getting more and more complicated, and see a little function like this expanded to something pretty big. Okay, so two terms. Here's the plus still here from the product rule. Okay, so that's u prime v, and that's uv prime. Let's go number 9. Cosine of x3 over x squared plus 1. And so f prime so this is what is a quotient, okay, it's a division. So cos of x3, so derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times the derivative of the bottom. Okay, so u prime v minus u times v prime, and then all this over the bottom squared. Any questions on this? Okay, so that's the setup. And now I have two problems to do. Okay, so equals the derivative of cos is negative sine. So negative sine of x3 times, again, the chain rule, the derivative of x3. Times x2 plus 1 minus cos x3 times the derivative of x2 plus 1, which is right away we know it's 2x, and then over x2 plus 1 power 2. Okay, am I going too fast for anyone? Okay, good. And then equals negative sine of x cubed times, this is 3x2 times x2 plus 1 minus cos x cubed times 2x over x2 plus 1 power 2, and that's my answer. Okay, so number 10. So let's say f of x is equal to cosecant 8 of x times cotangent of x8. So you recognize the product rule, I guess. I hope at least. So cosecant 8 of x times cotangent of x8 plus cosecant 8 of x times cotangent of x8. So u prime v plus u v prime. Okay, let's do this. So derivative of this is 8 times cosecant 7 of x times the derivative of cosecant. Okay, so that's from here, times cot of x8, and then plus cosecant 8x times the derivative of cotangent is negative cosecant squared of x2 times the derivative of the of x8. Sorry, 2 it's an 8 times the derivative of x8. Okay, so basically, if I'm to explain you what's going on here, all this here is actually the derivative of here, and then all this here is the derivative of this. Okay, so now I need to write this guy, and then I'm done. So equals 8 times cosecant 7 of x times the derivative of cosecant. We know it's negative cosecant times cotangent, and then times the cotangent of x8 plus cosecant 8x negative cosecant squared of x8, and times this is 8x7, and I'm done. This is my answer. No more primes, and that's it. No more derivatives.